Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name's Luke. I'm always excited to have a first-time guest of the show. So here goes an introduction to first-time guest of the show, Julian Juju Reza. Julian,
What's
welcome
up,
to the
man?
show.
Thank you for having me.
It's great having you on the show. We met at your first ever amateur MMA fight a couple years back. You got a win. It was really exciting. Your first fight ever was at 247 Fighting Championships in Monroeville, which is in Pennsylvania, but you actually train out of Glover Teixeira, the former 205-pound champion of the world for UFC, up in Connecticut. So it was kind of a cool opportunity for your first fight. Since then, you've done very well. You're actually on the show now because March 25th, you'll be fighting for the Maverick 170-pound amateur belt. So that's really exciting. We'll talk about that in a second, but why don't you just summarize what got you into MMA? Because we didn't have that opportunity to talk at your fight because it was your first fight. So what brought up the idea of training MMA before you ever had your first fight for 247? And then we'll kind of summarize your fight career so far. So go back in time and catch us up.
Okay, yeah. So the reason why I started MMA is because when I was I started MMA when I was 17 years old. So when I first started that, I had anger issues. I got in fights in school. I was just a hothead, and then I thought I was this big tough guy, and I thought I was just just picking fights with everybody. Nonsense fights. You know what I mean? But I just kept looking around. I searched up UFC gyms near me, and then it's talked about Danbury, a local fighter near me, and it said Glover Teixeira, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? I didn't even know who this guy was. So then I said, oh wow, he went against John Jones. So I'm like, oh wow, okay, seems pretty legit. It's right down the road for me, so might as well just go try it out. Once I got to the gym, it woke up. I got a wake up call. It's like me knowing before I started MMA, I thought I was just lying. I thought I was this big tough guy. I thought I was the king of the world. Once I got to the gym, I was just like, wow, I'm actually not. Because I train with people that are crazier.
Mm,
Crazy, just like me. But hard guys, Glover Teixeira. You got Kyle Magalhaes. He was in the UFC. Torman, he's in the UFC. We got Portan. We got Troy. He's a beast. You know what I mean? Like all these guys I train with every single day. So it definitely made me humbled. But yeah, that's the reason why I started MMA, and also
mhm.
what also helped me start it too is my grandma. My grandma also introduced me to wrestling. I started wrestling when I was, I think, in seventh grade.
Okay.
So ever since seventh grade, and I hated wrestling. Oh, God, I hated it because of the hard work. It was just, I was lazy. When I was a kid, I was lazy. Just ate a lot. I was 250. I was fat. So I just wanted to just chill. But my grandma's like, no, wrestle. And I was like, come on. But now I thank her because now I'm a pretty good wrestler. So, you know,
Well, and from that's a story of itself to go from 250 to fighting for a belt at 170. But I think it really does show the benefits of not only getting in shape because that's just physical, but like you said, finding a home and finding a training environment where you could really work on yourself as a person. So you have this. You've had five amateur MMA fights, one more than you lost. What has that journey been like?
yeah. So I mean, I have five amateur fights and 3-2. I'm on a 2-fight loss streak right now. But you know, the fourth fight with Tom Kaiser was actually at Maverick MMA,
Mhm.
and that was actually for the title too. It taught me something. All these losses. Like I'm an amateur. I am so thankful for these losses because it teaches me. Every fight that I go, it just teaches me every single thing. With Tom Kaiser, it just I was taught a lot about that one. And then my last fight was with Justin Budd. He actually was just in the LFA too, and I saw what he did, and I was winning the whole fight. But then I got caught, I got choked, I tapped. So it all happens. But it's just like just pushing forward, never giving up. Keep going, keep grinding, go back to the drawing boards, and just keep doing your thing. But my road right now, my journey right now is perfect. I couldn't ask for more, you know?
Well, and it's wonderful that you have the maturity, the mindset maturity. Of course, you train with one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, Glover Teixeira, and his life. I'm sure you know it much better than I do. I just know it from the outside, but from Brazil, then getting into the UFC kind of late as far as his age goes, and then
Yeah.
ends up being the second or third oldest champ ever in UFC in his early 40s. So it really shows that everyone's journey is unique to them. It is good though that your last fight, even though it ended in a loss, that you could see a lot of good moments. You know,
Uh-huh.
that's the thing in MMA. There's a lot of ways to win, but there's also a lot of ways to lose. And with the submission, you got caught, you tapped.
Hmm.
That's the fight game. What do you see as the opportunity? It's really cool that Maverick is giving you another opportunity at welterweight. You mentioned fighting Tom Kaiser. Tom Kaiser's now a pro. I got to call his first pro fight because he circled back around to 247. And I got to see him have his first pro fight and pro win by a really great elbow knockout up against the cage. But what's your mindset now fighting for the Maverick 170-pound title here, March 25th, for the second time? What's your mindset coming into this one?
You know, Maverick, I love Maverick. The organization's amazing. You know, all these organizations that I have fought for, I fought for a couple now, and they're all good. You know, Maverick has given me this opportunity to go for a title, first title, ever that I've had. But I think it's pretty cool. But I think what my mindset is going into this fight is just win. I'm not really too focused on the title. Like I like my last like with Tom Cars, I was like, oh my god, title shot, let's go, let's go. This
Mm,
guy's 7-1. I gotta beat him. I gotta go. I gotta go. And I was just like, too much. Now I'm more chill. Now I'm more. I know what's gonna happen. It's a fight. I accept what's gonna happen, and then let's just get down and let's just. I'm gonna get the win.
mm.
I'm not. I don't really. I care about the title, but it's like, you know what I mean. Like it's just not. It's not. It's just a plus. You know what I mean. It's not like crazy. I want the win. I want to win. You know.
Makes sense. It is a fight, so every fight gives you the opportunity to get a win, and I think you're showing that maturity again. A title fight is exciting, but like you just pointed out, you gotta focus on not the title, but the opportunity to get a win. And you're obviously going up against a tough opponent. How much scouting or work do you do towards your opponent? Since obviously you have experience, he has experience, or is it really just about making yourself the best fighter possible?
Yeah. I mean, I'm prepared for anything. I'm prepared for anyone. I train with every style, a lot of people. So I'm prepared. It's about it.
Well, yeah, that part of preparation is obviously fantastic. That's what you need. Um, is this closer to home? Is Maverick more of a close to home? Because obviously on your first MMA fight, you traveled quite a ways to go from Connecticut down to the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. So are you going to have more of a home crowd there for you? What is that like for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's like 2.5. I remember I traveled like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was definitely, especially in a Honda Civic, it sounded pretty good.
Oh, 6 hours in a Honda Civic. That is a great mental picture. But yeah, so it makes it more fun. Um, do you have a prediction or do you have something you want to say about the fight, or is it really just wait till March 25th to see you do your thing in there for Maverick?
Yeah, you just keep watching, I'm coming in, I'm guns blazing, I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna do what I do best, you know.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a great attitude to have. You've mentioned that you train with obviously a lot of UFC guys. Your head coach used to be a UFC champ. Now he's retired. Um, but what's it like training with another up and coming amateur 170? You call him Troy. I think that's one of the greatest nicknames ever. Kenyan Troy Moore because of how he looks like Troy from the
Yeah.
movie Troy, portrayed by Brad Pitt. So you're both 170. What's it like training and sparring with him on a regular basis as you both come up together?
Yeah, man. Listen, me and Troy, we're like that. He's like my brother. We train, we go at it, we spar, we wrestle together. We come at each other's heads, but at the end of the day, we're brothers. We train hard, and we both want the same thing, and we're both dogs. You know, that guy's pretty good. He's helped me out with a lot. You know, he's definitely a little bit more taller than me, so that helps too. I'm short.
Different frames. You guys have different frames. I think his frame looks more like an 85er
Yeah.
long term, but obviously you know that more training with him, and he's been great. I've had him on the show several times. Why I was so excited to get you on the show to kind of talk about what's been happening for you. It sounds like if you go way back, your grandmother was influential in your life to get you involved in wrestling, despite you not wanting to do it. And you're a story that's happened many, many times in MMA. People with anger issues or fighting issues getting in to MMA gyms, and it really changes their life and changes their mindset. So it's a real honor having you on the show. I can't wait to have you back on after the fight, kind of talk about it. I'm glad you're facing the opportunity that Maverick has given you for another title shot. And like you said, it's just a matter of getting in there and getting the win. So I really appreciate you having on the show. Obviously, you train with an absolute legend of the sport, and it's paying off with the work you're putting out into the fight. So thanks so much for coming on the show. I can't wait for March 25th for Maverick Championships 170-pound title challenger, Juju. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You take care. Best skills to you in the fight, and I'll talk to you later.
See you.
All right, bye-bye.